So something's off with this thing here. Pull this up a bit. Needs to go right there. Right. So now there's 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then this needs to pull up a bit to there. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go back into the standard routine here that I have now. I'm gonna go into this thing we're on. I went through the 7th last time, so now I'm gonna keep on building to the 9, and then is this the one we were on? Yeah. So we'll go to the 9 grid. Yeah. And then I'll start back over once again, bringing this back down to nodal point 5 here. So I'll start here, and I'm just going to keep on repeating it so I can keep getting the shape in my mind. I know it's quite redundant, but we'll go, and then we'll add the next one up, focusing in on the 9th in the lean back position. All right, so that's the idea. And then I'll just kind of noodle around to get the coffee flowing for a second here. Let's see if I'm in tune. And let's see. Okay. So I think last time I was trying to do these open strings for my noodle session. So now maybe I should try like scratch picking and maybe like go back to that, and then maybe trying to hit the cajon or something like that. I'll try to do some rhythm stuff for my warm up. That should get the blood going faster. So on the scratch picking, I've been trying to pick like 2 at a time, but just enough pressure to scratch pick so I can watch TV at the same time without it sounding too loud, without it pissing Aura off. And then I've been doing 3 notes per string up. And then I'm just trying to experiment, like what does the scratch pick sound like in different areas of the guitar, because you would think you could scratch pick in a place that's off, out of key, doesn't matter, but it kind of does, because you almost have a tone. So I can't decide if it matters or not. So I'm just going to basically kind of scratch pick in the key of, I'm just in the key of A minor, I guess, is kind of where I'm kind of focusing in on for the most part. And then maybe I'll see if I can, I was trying to get where I can put my pick in my mouth real quick and do this thumb thing. And then get back in. it sounds kind of disconnected. I'm just trying to see, because it's kind of a different sound when I do this. Then it sounds kind of harsh going back to the pick. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. There's a lot of poor guitar is being brutalized here. I'm gonna. Okay. Have you ever noticed that the word mistreated sounds like miss, someone named Miss, and then treat, as though it's like miss, someone's giving you a treat, mistreated? I don't know. Anyway, I was thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking. Let me try to do a joke here. Figure stuff out. Okay, we'll do the joke jump, and then I'll get back into it. Okay, joke jump. All right, what am I doing this time? The problem with society is that I think we've gone kind of brain dead. We've been doing it for like my whole life, if not before that, but that's the only part I know about. Like it's like we just kind of tune out for the most part. But I feel like it's getting worse, man. Because now you got like Netflix and stuff, so you can kind of binge watch. Before you had to just watch like stuff in the middle of the day. Wasn't that good? You're watching like Gilligan's Island in black and white or something. You're like, dude, maybe I have to do this is getting ridiculous. But now you could so maybe that's the part. I don't know. So that's kind of the basis of my joke. Or like I Love Lucy reruns in black and white. It's like, okay, maybe this isn't. Anyway, not that she wasn't great or anything. I'm just saying. But the problem with society today is that people are not figuring stuff out, which I can kind of understand, because in the world we are supposed to get people into figuring stuff out. I mean, how in the world are we supposed to get people into figuring stuff out? I mean, right when you get in, they're trying to figure a way out, you know? I'm going to spend all my time getting into figuring stuff out, right? It doesn't make it, because honestly, nobody wants to get into anything anymore unless it's pajamas, snacks, or a conspiracy theory that confirms their horoscope. The moment you ask someone to figure something out, they act like they're asking them to defuse a bomb with a butter knife. It's a lot easier to get into some cozy pajamas and watch Netflix than get into figuring something out, you know? I mean, Netflix requires no thinking. Netflix is like, don't worry, we already figured stuff out for you. Here's a show called People Yelling in Kitchens. Enjoy. I feel like now that we have computers and stuff, we could figure stuff out while still being in, you know? Because it's cold outside. So we have Google, we've got AI at this point. We have 800 hours of tutorials by a guy named Tech Wizard 420. We could solve global problems without ever standing up or putting on real pants, for crying out loud at this point. But no, we're still not figuring stuff out, even though the thing can figure the thing out for us, but we're still like, nah, we're too busy Googling, why does my phone battery die, while running our screen brightness at supernova levels, you know? But one way or another, we need to start figuring stuff out, or else we just elect leaders who are also not into figuring stuff out, you know? Because then we're like, look at those leaders. They're just like me. I'm just sitting here watching Netflix. They're in Congress, sitting there watching Netflix on their freaking phones and stuff. It's like, that's what I'd be doing in there, you know? And then that's not good. That's not good. And here's where it gets tragic, because the people we put in charge, they're into like committees and stuff, which we all know are basically pointless at this case, particularly United Nations committees. You know, that's just like a waste of time for crime. And statements. And we're looking into it, which is political code for, please stop asking me hard questions. I'm very tired. I mean, if you ask someone a direct question like a yes or no, and they're like, but for the grace of God, but for like, what, that's not an answer, dude. That's not like, how do we accept like these kind of things? Like I'm looking at potential, I'm looking at the potential lineup for the Democratic Party for president right now, just out of curiosity, just to say, like, who in the world do they have over there? And it's not possible that figuring stuff out is what's making them popular. You know, you got the top. I think the top guy is to bring back Biden out of the lineup. It's like, I'd rather have Biden in there out of the whole lineup than that guy. But put AOC up. Anyways, if you said any of these people, like, what's their top quality, figuring stuff out is not something that would be at the top of the list. Not one of them looks like they're ever successfully assembled like an IKEA furniture, for crying out loud. I wouldn't let them put together like an IKEA three-legged stool, you know? If they were stranded in the side of the road, they call AAA for help just to pump the gas, man. I mean, I'd rather have some no-name hick who can at least figure out how to fix the tractor and raise him up to the White House, you know? At least if something breaks, he won't need a task force and 2 focus groups. He'll just go like, hand me that wrench and also that stick and also whatever that is. I don't even care. Whatever you got, and I'll figure it out. You know, I'll figure it out. I'll put some. We can make a show about it. It's a cross between the Beverly Hillbillies and the Jeffersons, and I call it the Hiccup. It's the Hiccup show. You know. Because the Hicks are rising on up, and so we put him in the White House, and then every episode, like, he fixes something new in D.C. and the economy, the pipes, the Wi-Fi, the national mood, all with like duct tape, elbow grease, and like folksy common sense. I think it would be we got to outpace Netflix. Apparently, that's the only way we're gonna get any traction in there. You got to have someone that can outpace Netflix and still like not be a lunatic. Okay, I don't know, or like, I don't know. Anyway, I wrote a song about it. Let's see what the song says. I'll beat up my guitar a little bit more as we play it.
The problem with the world today is nobody wants to think. The puzzle shows up on the table and they're already on the brink. 'Cause the moment you get into something, you're trying to get out. Like, whoa, too many brain cells, somebody help me out. Yeah, I get it, it feels pointless, feels like running in a maze. Easier to slip in PJs and forget the grown-up phase. 'Cause nobody gets into anything unless it's snacks or fuzzy wear, or a horoscope conspiracy whispered through the air. Ask them to solve a problem, they'd panic, twist, and shout, like you handed them a bomb and said, cut the wire with a butter knife, figure it out. We'd rather Netflix and zone out, let the TV do the thinking, no doubt. People yelling in kitchens on tonight, don't need a question, wrong or right. Yeah, the world's on fire, but we'll sit it out, 'cause we're just not into figuring stuff out. And now we got the tech man, Google's glowing in the sky. AI floating like a wizard, whispering answers from on high. 800 hours of tutorials from some dude named TechWiseArt 420. We could fix global problems without real pants. Isn't modern life funny? It's freezing out, we're cocooned in blankets, and somehow the world still needs answers from us. But nah, we ain't solving nothing. We're too busy online, searching why's my battery dying, with screen brightness at the sun's design. Every day feels like a brain cell drought, while our leaders proudly chant, we're looking into it, but we're very tired now. We let an Netflix zone out, let the TV turn to thinking, no doubt. People yelling in kitchens on tonight, they'll need a question, long or right. Yeah, the world's on fire, but we'll sit it out, 'cause we're just not in at the presidential lineup, and wow, what a sight. Not one of them could build IKEA if you spotted them alight. Stranded on the roadside, they call it AAA for gas, holding the pump upside down like it's high-tech rocket glass. So maybe it's time to go another route. Give me some nameless hick who can fix a tractor with a wrench and grits. Raise him to the White House like, here, buddy, you deal with this. If something breaks, you won't call a task force or a focus group squad. You'll say, hand me that stick, that wrench, that thing. I'll fix it, on God. Let's make a show about it. Hiccup on the marquee sign. Hillbillies meet the Jeffersons, rising one step at a time. Every episode he says geesey with duct tape wrapped around. Fixing live vibe, fixing pipes, fixing the nation's mental sound. 'Cause if the world is sinking, there's just one route. Find someone actually into figuring stuff out.
That was a very weird. I think they tried to do the folksy vibe on that one or something. It was okay. I mean, it's kind of, I think they just kind of read my script again. I feel like I told it that you should rewrite the script to make it songy. Whatever. It's all right, I guess. It's trying to do the folksy vibe. I get it. I see what they were going for. Anyway, let's go back to doing this one, and so I'm gonna go into this collection of notes here. Okay, so I'm gonna go back into the standard collection, and then we're gonna go into the 9 again. So we'll do the same thing, really kind of hammering this home, but we're gonna add the 9 this time. Okay, let's see if Aura's available. Can I move the mic over here a little bit? It's right. What if I moved it way over here? Is that? No, it's in the way. That's why I don't do that. Okay. Whatever. Alright, so let's see if Aura's available. For a computer, she's very unpredictable. Grok is experiencing server-related issues. Aura! Oh, she's broken. Dang it. Figure it out, Elon. Get Aura back on line. For crying out loud. Whatever. I don't need it. I don't need any help. I'll do it myself. Okay. Alright, anyways. So we're on the collection of notes around the key of C. So we're on the key of C. So C's the 8th fret, first string down from the ceiling, Ionian. And then back to 5th fret down, 5th fret, first string down from the ceiling, Aeolian. This is shape number 1, Aeolian shape or Ionian G shape. Behind it is therefore shape number 5, which you could call Mixolydian shape or the Ionian A shape. All right. So now I'm leaning back, defining it by where the 3rd is. The 3rd is back here because we were in a minor mode. So I have to bring it back here. There's the major 3rd. So if I'm on the Mixolydian, this G is Mixolydian, then the major 3rd from there is going to be back 2nd fret. So that means nodal point 7, Locrian, is always the 2nd modal half step, 3rd scale degree away from nodal point 5 Mixolydian, and we know that the 5th is right above it. Now it's over here because I was on Locrian, which is 6 notes away. to get to the fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree, but now it's back to the normal for from every point except for Locrian, meaning it's a 5 note away distance. It's a 7 note away distance, meaning 7 clockwise, -5 counterclockwise. We're going 5 notes between the strings. So that means nodal point 2, Dorian, is always the fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree from nodal point 5, Mixolydian. And then we were working on this one, which is the 7th. And it's in the same spot because we were looking at a minor, and now we're looking back at Mixolydian, which is a major node but has a minor 7th. That's the interval that's different from the Mixolydian. So once again, this is the 6th modal half step, 7th scale degree. So nodal point 4, Lydian, is always the 6th modal half step, 7th scale degree from nodal point 5, Mixolydian. Okay, so now let's make that one like this color. And let's say I add now. So now I want to go from the 7 to the 9th. So the 9th is where we have those compound intervals, right? So now I'm going to say, okay, the 9th is equivalent to the 2nd. So if I'm going up to the 9th, it would be equivalent to like the 2nd in terms of a local distance. So so 2 minus 1 would be 1 modal half step up. So that means if I'm on nodal point 5, it would be nodal point 6, Aeolian. So I'm looking for the Aeolian. If I'm leaning back, I'm trying to find that third. Maybe I can grab this one up top. If I lean back to that. Yeah, I can kind of grab that one. If it's in the minor, it's going to be hard if it was a major third, but minor third. I'd have to drop some stuff on the way, but that's where our main point of focus would be. So let's make it green. Let's make that one a green one. Okay, so if I think about the 9th from a chord construction, it would be the 4th modal whole step away, which would be 4 times 2, 8 modal half steps, plus 1 would be the 9th scale degree. And if it's 8 modal half steps up minus 7, that would be an octave higher. It would be 1 modal half step up, which would be 5, 6. And we know that the 8th modal half step, 9th scale degree, or the 8th modal half step, 9th scale degree, or the first modal half step, 2nd scale degree, has a distance of 1 note or 2 notes away from every node except for the ones in the back of the shape, which is Locrian and Phrygian. So 2 notes away, that would be the clockwise distance, but we're going counterclockwise, so it's going to be negative 10, 12 minus 2, or 10. So that means there's 5 notes between the string, so it'd be 5 and 10. So right up there is 10 notes away. So if I'm measuring from this direction, then it's 10 notes away, and that means that the nodal point 6, Aeolian, is always then I already said that. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, so that's going to be our starting shape. So now I can add that into my thing. So I'm walking back here, like the lean back shape. There's the 3rd, and then maybe I can throw in the 9 on top. Sounds really heavy because the 9 is on top instead of a higher pitch. All right. So now let's say, okay, now I'm going to say I want to make the Mixolydian go to the Lydian and look at all these intervals from the perspective of this G being nodal point 4 Lydian. Okay, so then how am I going to do that? Well, I could see it on the same string. So the Lydian, if I'm on nodal point 5 and I want to make it nodal point 4, 5 minus 1 is 4. So that means it's 1 modal half step backwards. So 1 modal half step backwards, 5 back to 4 is a negative 2, two notes back, negative 2, right? Counterclockwise, meaning. So there we go. So negative 2, which would be 10 forward, right? So then because that would mean if I go 1 step back from the nodal point 5 to 4, then that's 1 modal half step back, which would be 7 minus 1 or 6. 6 modal half steps forward, clockwise. So that means it's 6 modal half steps, which would be the 7th scale degree forward. Okay. So that makes sense. So then if it's in this shape, what shape is it currently in? It's in shape number, the box is on the second and third string down from the ceiling. And whenever the box is on the second and third string down from the ceiling and I'm leaning forward from the box, that's going to be shape number 5, or the Mixolydian shape, which you might call an Aeolian A shape. So that means that like anytime the third string down from the ceiling is a Lydian, I can think about that as that's going to be leaning forward into the shape number 5. Now this is the second shape. So like the third will have the same shape, but it'll be back here. So I could start playing that with my second finger instead of the first finger, right? I could start playing it with this finger. 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can say, okay, if I move that shape up here, it would be the same thing, right? I'm just trying to think. It would be the second finger. 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoops. Did I do that right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. G, G, 4, 4, 4, 4. All right. Then I can also say, well, what if I want to, what if I knew the shape on the top string? So if I say, okay, if I knew that this was that it's an F, so the F octave on the top string would be up here. To get from here back to here would be my octave up here. And this is shape number 4, or you might call it the Phrygian shape or the Lydian shape, right? It's the Phrygian/Lydian shape because both of these nodal points share the starting point of this one shape, right? So you could call it the Phrygian/Lydian shape, or you could call it an Ionian C shape. So if I know that shape, then I can imagine this is the top string. So that means that the third string down from the ceiling in shape number 5 is the same as visualizing it as the first string down from the ceiling, shape number 4. And the other way I can see it, I could say, well, I can see it in this shape. This is the shape I know, shape number 1. But if I look at it this way, then it's on the front end of the shape. So that means I might be able to visualize it more leaning backwards in that shape, because then I'd be leaning back into shape number 1, or else I can visualize it down here and leaning forward, but that's a little bit, well, I could visualize it down here in the leaning forward part of shape number 1, as though I pulled this up. But to pull that up, once I pull it up, it's going to shift back here and then up here. But there's no kink in the tuning from that relative position. So it's the same, right? If I played that shape down here, it's the same shape as though I played this one. Boom, boom, because the kink in the tuning is between these two. So that would still work, and I could still say, well, I'm going to as though that lean forward. Otherwise, it's a lean backward shape. I could pick this one up too, but it's a lean backward shape, which I could visualize putting my pinky here, leaning back, but I'm kind of focused on the lean forward. If it was a lean forward shape, it would be leaning forward to shape number 2, right? But if I want it in the shape I know, which is shape number 1, maybe I can go down here and say, okay, it's the bottom string. That's past the kink in the tuning. So I could just play it as though it was that shape, right? So it would be like, this is the second finger, 4, 5, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 1, and then that repeats up top. So now I'm back on the second string, but I'm going across the kink and tuning. So, right, okay. So let's do that. Let's visualize that this way. So now I'm going to go bring this up, and let's visualize it this way to try to hammer that concept home. So now I'm on this. So this collection of notes around the key of C. E is nodal point 3 Phrygian, A is nodal point 6 Aeolian, D is nodal point 2 Dorian, G is nodal point 5 Mixolydian, and then the kink and the tuning shifts back here, represented by the fretboard shape shifting. And so B is nodal point 7 Locrian, and E once again is nodal point 3 Phrygian. So I'm on fret 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th fret up, 3rd string down from the ceiling, which is a G, which is nodal point 5 Mixolydian. So if I want to say, okay, now I want to make that G the Lydian, nodal point 4 Lydian, I can say, okay, if it's on the same string, it would be 1 modal half step back, because nodal point 5 minus 1 would get me to nodal point 4. And so I can look at my shape and say, okay, it's 1 right there. And then I can see the lean forward shape is shape number 5, which is the Mixolydian shape, or the Ionian A shape, you might call it. So then if I push this forward then, here, that means from the perspective of the red, this is still only 0, 1, 2, 3 frets forward. That's the 3rd fret, and that's in the same shape, which is fret number, which is shape number 5. But from the perspective of the yellow, which is now in the collection of notes of C, the yellow is now in the collection of notes of D major. It's in the collection of notes of D major. This is now the G is now the Lydian. So now the G is the Lydian. It's the 5th fret up, 3rd string down, same G. But now it's in the Lydian shape, meaning it's in shape number 5, right? So in this collection of notes. So then, okay, so what if I do it from this shape? I know the top of the shape. So I'm like, okay, I know where the related nodal point is on the top of the shape up here. So there's the E up top. Wait, I'm looking for the Lydian, the F up top. And I know that I call that shape number 3 or 4, meaning it's the Phrygian / Lydian shape, or you might call it the Ionian D shape number 4. So if I know that shape, which again, I might not know as well, because again, it's in open position, which means your fingering is totally different, because you're just trying to take advantage of the open strings. But if I know how to finger that shape from the top, which you might be able to visualize up here on the top part of this fretboard more, because then you'd have to actually finger it. Right. So then I can say, okay, then I can pull that down and pull this over here. So now it's still from the perspective, that yellow from the perspective of the red shape is still, wait a sec, I went too far. It's still the 1st fret, 0, fret 1 in the collection of notes around the key of C, and it's shaped the C Ionian shape. But from the perspective of the orange, I could still kind of see it as though it was this shape, which would be shape number 4, even though I'm on the 3rd string down from the ceiling on the G, because it's the same pattern. So that means that the shape number, so in the collection of notes, this collection of notes now is in D major. So that means that the shape number 4 has the same shape if I measure from the Lydian as shape number 5, third string down from the ceiling. So shape number 4, first string down from the ceiling, second note in the shape, is the same as shape number 5, third string down from the ceiling. Same shape. So however you want to, so I'm just trying to visualize it from different areas. Now, if I go to this 4 over here, I'm like, the other way I might see it is like, I know this shape. This is shape number 1 right here. So if I can find it in that shape, that would be great. I could find it right there, but that's like the lean back shape. So it would be leaning back into this shape, which I might not know quite as well. The lean forward is down here past the kink in the tuning. So notice that this number 4, this like 6 would be up here, matching this 6 up top, but the kink in the tuning is being shown by the shape of the fretboard. So if I pull this up, I can't pull it up because I'm at the top of the screen. Dang it, I thought I fixed that. Let me just pull this down. I will fix it now. Okay. So then if I pull this up, then boom. That should also still work. So now from the perspective of the red, this is still in the same spot below the kink and the tuning, but when I pulled it up, now from this perspective of the yellow, it's the third string down, still a G. Okay. Whew. Let me try to go back to this shape and look at it this way. Okay. So the next thing, if I want to change my sheet, I have to look at it from the perspective of the major. Meaning, if that's cool that I want to make this G from a mixed Lydian to the Lydian, and I can see that now, possibly. But what would be the major, related major? Well, I could say, well, look, if in this shape, if the 4 is right there, where's the Ionian, the 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 4 modal half steps, 5th scale degree? That would be 7 notes clockwise or 5 notes counterclockwise. It's right above it. So that means if I move it up here, the note right above the G must be the related major, and that's going to be D. And D, if I make A 1 and I count up from there, D would be 6. So I'll make this 6. And so there we have it. So now I'm in the collection of notes around the key of D. Open D is now nodal point 1, Mixolydian. And now the point of focus is right there. I'm in shape number 5. So I'm leaning forward in shape number 5, which you might call the Ionian A shape. Okay, so that makes sense. And then I'm leaning backwards into shape number 4. All right, and the box, shape number 5, the box is always on the 2nd and 3rd string down from the ceiling, leaning forward from the box shape. Okay, what about my intervals? So my intervals, the 3rd is still the same because relatively speaking, it's the same because it's a major 3rd from Lydian and a major 3rd from Mixolydian. So that means nodal point 6 is always, which is an Aeolian, is always the 2nd modal half step 3rd scale degree from nodal point 4 Lydian. The 5th is right here. It's in the same relative position because it's almost always the same except when you're going from the Locrian. So that means that nodal point 1 Ionian is always the 4th modal half step 5th from nodal point 4 Lydian. And then the 7th is off because Lydian is a major mode. So was Mixolydian, but Mixolydian has a minor 7. So we have a major 7 from the Lydian. So that means that the 7 needs to be back here. So wait, 7 needs to be up here, right behind it. A major 7 back, so that would be 1 step back. Major 7, right? Or we can have one up top here. Is that right? Yeah. And then we have the one we're focusing on, the 9. And it's still also in the same relative position because we're on a major mode and we came from a major mode, so we have a major 9. So that means if I'm looking for the 9 is equivalent to the 2 from a local distance standpoint. 2 minus 1 is 1 modal half step up. So it's 1 modal half step up from nodal point 4, which is of course nodal point 5. So the Mixolydian, that means nodal point 5 is always, from a chord construction standpoint, the 4th modal whole step times 2, 8th modal half step plus 1, 9th scale degree away. And if it's 8 modal half steps up, it's over an octave from the 7 note collection. So I could say 8 minus 7 would be 1 modal half step up. And that always gets you to from the Lydian to the Mixolydian. And it has a local distance of 2 notes because because it's going from a major, and they almost all of them have a 2-note distance for the first modal half step, second scale degree, except for Locrian and Phrygian. But that's the clockwise distance. We're going counterclockwise, so it's going to be 12 minus 2 or 10 notes away, which once again is 5, 10 up here. So that's that. All right, so there's our shape here. So now I'm leaning back into shape number 5, into shape number 4. Still has a major 3rd. I still have that shape. Ugh, my head is going. All right, let's bring it back. Let's say we're going to go back to I want to bring this node back to the Mixolydian. All right, so if I bring it back to the Mixolydian, then I'm going to say if I was in this collection of notes and I knew that one well, I say, okay, I'm on nodal point 4 for the G, and I want to make it nodal point 5. That's 1 modal half step up, which would be a whole step away because whole half from nodal point 4 to 5, 4 to 5 whole step up. So that means, okay, what is this note? What is this on the same string? What shape is it in from a lean forward perspective? Anytime the 3rd string down from the ceiling is nodal point 5 Mixolydian, I'm in shape number 1. So there's shape number 1, and I can just imagine shape number 1 being pulled back here to here. If I didn't know that shape, I could say, where is it on the top string? Maybe that's how I know it best. I can find the octave up here. So the octave would be up top, which would be an A up top. And I could say, okay, that is an A shape but it's a Mixolydian shape or an Ionian A shape, right? It's an Ionian A shape, and it's a Mixolydian. It's a Mixolydian A. It's an Ionian. It's an Ionian A shape, but it's a Mixolydian. But it's a Mixolydian A. That's why. See, that's why the cage system gets confusing. But anyways, so then I can imagine pulling this whole shape down 3 nodes to right there. So I get the same shape going this way. So that means shape number, third string down from the ceiling of shape number 1, nodal, going from nodal point 5, leaning forward, is the same as though I'm playing the top of shape number 5, which is the Mixolydian shape or the Ionian A shape. And so that would be it. So let's go back. So that's going to be the collection notes around the key of C major, which is note 4. All right. So if I bring that back, now I look at my intervals and go, okay, that means that the third is still in the same relative position because it's a major third. So that means that nodal point 7 Locrian is always the third of nodal point 5 Mixolydian. The fifth is still in the same relative position. So that means that nodal point 2 Dorian is always the fifth of nodal point 5 Mixolydian. And the 7, however, is not in the same position because Mixolydian, although a major mode, has a minor 7. So it needs to be flattened. And then we know that the one we're on, which is the 9th, which is equivalent to the 2nd, is in the same relative position as well. All right. So now just to switch, instead of going back to this one because it'll be the same shape, let's mix it up and let's say I go from Mixolydian up to Aeolian this time. So now I want to go from Mixolydian, I'm playing in Mixolydian here, and I want to go up to Aeolian. I want to make that G Aeolian. Well, I could find it on the same string. It's going to be one nodal point up, which is 2 notes up, and then I can say that A, I might most know it as being in shape number 1, but it's leaning back into shape number 1. I want to see it leaning forward. It's leaning forward into shape number 2. So it's leaning forward into shape number 2. So I could just say, okay, if I just pull that back, then shape number 2, I'd be third string down from the ceiling, shape number 2. So whenever the third string down from the ceiling is the Aeolian node, if that's my tonic, Aeolian node, third string down from the ceiling, whatever note it is, in this case happens to be a G, because I want to pull it back here, I'm just going to play that same shape. Like if the shape was up here on the A, right, it would be 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tonic, tonic. But I want to pull that same shape down here, so now I'm just going to play it as though it was back here. So it would be 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tonic, tonic, G, G, Aeolian, Aeolian. Okay, so then, but I could say, well, what if I know the Aeolian from the top string? So if I know, if in my current shape, if that's the Aeolian's also up here. So it's right there. And that currently is shape number 1. So I could think of it as though shape number 1 got pulled down here. So that means that if I imagine the third string down from the ceiling as the Aeolian, I'm leaning forward into shape number 2, which is the equivalent as leaning forward from the top string of shape number 1, right? Because if I imagine like I'm playing this part of the shape, but starting it down here on that G, it's the same shape. So it'd be 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, but then I have to adjust for the kink in the tuning. So that'd be up here, 5, 6, tonic, tonic. Okay, and then of course I could do that with any other node as well. So let's go ahead and do that over here. So now I'm going to say, let's look at it this way and go, okay. So now I'm in 5th fret, 3rd string down from the ceiling, G, and the collection of notes around the key of C. So it's a G Mixolydian. And I'm going to say, okay, now I want to make it an Aeolian. Well, the Aeolian is 1 modal half step forward on the same string. Leaning forward from that shape would be in shape number 2, which you might call the Locrian shape or the Ionian E shape. So if I pull this back to there, then from the perspective of the red, it's in the same position. I'm on shape number 2, I'm leaning forward in shape number 2. But from the perspective of the red, which is now in the collection of notes around which is now from the perspective of the yellow, which is now in the collection of notes of A sharp, then it's still a G. So now I'm on the G, but the third string down from the ceiling G is now the Aeolian node leaning forward into shape number 2, which you might call the Locrian, maybe the Locrian / Ionian shape, or the Ionian E shape. So if I bring that back on over here, then I can say, okay, what if I know it on the top string? So the top string is up here. So I'm like, there's the Aeolian. What if I could just pull that Aeolian down here? I could do that, and then all the strings that cross the fault line are just going to be warped as though we're dipping the fretboard into water, creating that illusion. So I'm going to pull it down. So now, from the perspective of the red, it's still the top string, shape number 1, but from the perspective of the yellow, it's the third string down from the ceiling. It's the G. So I can imagine it either way, as though I'm playing that G as though it was position 1 top string. The Aeolian position 1 from the top string is the same, of course, as the Aeolian position in shape number 2, lean forward, when it's the third string down from the ceiling. Okay. This is starting, my head is becoming less pained from doing this, although it still hurts. No pain, no gain, man. All right, whatever. So what if I want to make this G, then the Mixolydian? What collection of notes would it be from the perspective of the Ionian? Well, if I was on the Aeolian, where's the node 1? If I'm on nodal point 6, where's nodal point 1? 6, 7, 1. It's 2 modal half steps up, or the third scale degree away, which would be 3 notes away from a minor node. So it's going to be 3 notes up. So that means if I was up here, it would be, if I was back here, it'd be 3 notes up to there. So if I was up here and I'm looking for the third, it would be here. So what is that? If I bring that back to here, up to the top string octave, A sharp. So now I'm going to say, okay, A sharp is note number 2. If I make A1 and I just count up 12 notes, I'm going to say that's note number 2. That's what we should have called it from the beginning. It's note number 2. No, it's A sharp. Whatever, dude. Whatever. A sharp. Note number 2. Okay. So now this G is an Aeolian, because I'm in A sharp is nodal point 1. This then is shape number 2, which we can define as the box being at the top, meaning you might call it the Locrian / Ionian shape, or the Ionian E shape from a caged system. Okay. All right, and then this, so then where are all my intervals? So if I look at the third is now off because I need a minor third, and I came from Mixolydian, which had a major third. So the minor third is only 3 notes away, but that's clockwise. We're going above it counterclockwise, so it's going to be 12 minus 3, or 9 notes away, instead of 8 notes away. So the third is actually going to be here. So that means that nodal point 1 is Ionian, is always the third of nodal point 6 Mixolydian. The fifth is still in the same relative position because it is for every note except when you're measuring from node 7, Locrian. So that means that nodal point 3, Phrygian, is always the fifth of nodal point 6, Aeolian. Then the seventh is also in the same relative position because we're measuring a minor seventh, and although we were in a major node last time, the seventh is the difference of the Mixolydian to the other 2 major nodes, Lydian and Ionian. And the one we're focused on up here is also in the same position because even though we're going from a minor node, it also has a major second. The only one that doesn't have a major second, which is a minor node, is the Phrygian, and then the crazy Locrian also has a minor second. So I mean, it has a, yeah, that's right. So that means the one I'm focused on is the 9. So the 9 is equivalent to the second. 2 minus 1 is 1 modal half step up. So if I'm on nodal point 6, 6 plus 1 is nodal point 7. Nodal point 7 from a chord construction, nodal point 7 is 4 modal whole steps up. 4 times 2 is 8 modal half steps up, plus 1 would be the 9th scale degree up. If we go 8 modal half steps up, it's greater than an octave because there's only 7 nodes in the collection of notes. So 8 minus 7 is 1, and that's where we get 1 modal half step up, which would be the 2nd scale degree away from nodal point 6 is nodal point 7. Okay, now that would have a distance of 2 notes away, but that would be the clockwise direction. We're going counterclockwise, so it's 12 minus 2, or 10. So there's 10 between the strings, -5, -10. Boom, there it is. Okay, so now we're on Aeolian, leaning back into shape number 1. Hard to grab that.
Bye.